So, according to Reader's Digest, it took a hosiery businessman named Lamarcus Thompson, who hated that Americans were tempted by hedonistic places like salons and brothels. So, what does Lamarcus do? He sets out to straighten up one of the most immoral places he could think of, Coney Island, New York. Thompson is credited for building America's first roller coaster to give New Yorkers some good, clean fun. Fact. Good, clean fun. Precisely what I'm dishing out here today on the show. Alex, welcome to Epic Starts. Woo! Alex in the house. How are you, man?
Happy to be here, man. I'm doing wonderful. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's beautiful.
SLC. And speaking of roller coasters, are you strapped in? You ready for a liftoff? Are you ready with the 5-star harness, ready to go?
I'm ready, man.
From already then. You heard the man. Alex is here. My name is EP, and Epic starts right now. All right, so out of the gate, I got to know the backstory with the backstory that you have kicking on the whole LinkedIn profile. So, Alex, I'm putting together the ideas of what I want to talk about and some questions. I go to your LinkedIn profile, and I see a dude with this long hair with a 6-string in his hand. And I'm looking at some other people, and I'm thinking, wait, do I have the right Alex Johnson? Is this a rock and roll star Alex Johnson? Or is this a guy that has started a business in the financial service arena called Velvet? Did I have the right profile?
You'd be surprised how much overlap there is between rock star and executive, man. Especially in finance, right? You got to be kind of loud sometimes to get Wall Street people's attention, to get tech people's attention, to innovate. Sometimes you have to make some noise. I mean, I've been a musician for like 15 years, I think.
Nice.
My main axe being the guitar. I can play a lot of other string instruments like the mandolin, the banjo, whatever. I played in a couple bands, mostly like my own stuff. What you saw on my LinkedIn profile was I was playing at a private party in Beverly Hills, and this was one of the most beautiful nights of my life. It was a Creativo party by my good friend Sasha, and he asked me to play. They do all these beautiful themed parties to connect the venture investors and the family offices and the investor class. And I broke into it in a business sense, but also in an extremely curious, fun sense. So I became good friends with Sasha, and he asked me to be Jimi Hendrix. He said, "You know the Star Spangled Banner, right?" He's like, "We're doing Showtime for the Super Bowl," because the party was around the Super Bowl. And he's like, "For Showtime, I want you to play the guitar, Jimi Hendrix Star Spangled Banner." And for all, I think a lot of people know it, but you're basically shredding solo on the stage for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Sober or not. I had to do it a little less sober.
Well, thank God you didn't do it with the banjo, but then that would probably be a challenge that you would meet. How many strings on a banjo?
Banjo's got 5 strings. Well, it depends on the banjo. There's different banjos.
Okay. So, wow. Banjo, I heard, what was the other instrument? Started with an M?
Mandolin's the little Italian one. Yeah. I can play the ukulele pretty well. Play the trumpet, trombone, piano.
So a man of many talents. And then, of course, I got to throw this one out. And this is great because you and I haven't even talked about this yet. Kind of going through, do my trolling. Who am I talking to? Learn a little bit about them. And you and I, my friend, have something in common around the words of futures trading. So we're not going to get into it too much on this show because I know that that's going to be another show on itself. And yes, I will be bringing you back for it. But I did catch your proprietary futures trading. And definitely.
Degenerate, man. Let's say you were both gamblers.
Yes.
Sophisticated traders.
Sophisticated speculators, I like to call it. All right, moving on. The name of your baby is Velvet. Love the name. You can think of some really crushed, good-looking velvet jackets I got. But speaking of crushing, I know you're crushing it because you are a startup life kind of guy. You know what you're doing. You're in the groove. We're going to get to that, talk about your partner the whole bit. Alex, share with us what Velvet is doing. What's your company all about? What are you doing to change the world for the better good?
Yeah, Velvet's bringing a lot of transparency to private markets, more specifically from the fund manager level. What I do on Velvet is I go and find and source fund managers, not just me, my entire company, my team, our referral network. We ingest venture capital investors, hedge fund managers, private equity managers, real estate. It doesn't matter. private funds, they're impossible to find. If you're not like in the know, you don't know any fund managers. If you want to be in the know, you have to pay 30 grand for some shitty database, something like PitchBook, or you have to know a guy who knows a guy. Private markets are incredibly opaque. There's no way to access them for normal people, even sophisticated investors, like large accredited investors or institutions. They're always trying to find good managers. They're very difficult to find. What we do is we source all of them, we collect all their data, and we create these beautiful listings on a marketplace. They're kind of similar. You could imagine like Airbnb, you look through villas, you know, in Hollywood to stay for the weekend. Velvet, you can look through different managers. Some are investing into impact things. Some are investing into green startups. Others are, you know, making markets more efficient. They're trading futures, for example, like what we did. They were such a successful trader that they started a fund. And a lot of these guys make superior returns to public markets. So everybody knows the stock market for the most part. Most people know what it is, at least. Very few people know about private markets. And that's actually where the majority of large outsized returns happen. So private markets almost perform like twice as good on public markets on average. They're much less efficient. They're harder to access. We list all these fund managers who are doing exactly that, operating in private markets, and making really good returns. Like most of the guys we list make more than 20% a year. And we do that at scale to investors. They can scroll through for free because of our model. They have all the access to information, data, ways to evaluate the fund managers, their profiles, and a direct line to the fund managers themselves. So you say, contact the manager, set up a Zoom meeting, view their
That's
data.
free? Okay, hold on a
That's
second.
all free.
Wind that back. So you're almost creating, in my head, I'm picturing like a Facebook for fund managers. Like you've got profiles, you've got equity charts, you're showing their performance, their AUM, and you're giving their contact information out to the pub. Like if I want to become a member, I'm assuming I have to pay, but you said free. So wind that back.
Technically, it's a private marketplace. So what I have to do is vet both sides of the equation, right? Because fund managers don't want to take money from everybody, one. They also want to know who's interested in investing in them. So on the other side of the marketplace, I'm vetting the investors. One of the things currently we have to do is let accredited investors in. So if you're an accredited investor, you can sign up. We verify your accreditation. You build a profile of what you're looking for. Like maybe you just got out of a tech startup and you're so tired, or maybe you got off of Wall Street and you're so tired of everything being about money. You want to like find some plant companies, or you want to find the guys who are like investing into like weed because you're a stoner now, you know.
Got it.
There's entire venture funds investing into weed infrastructure, weed companies, weed technology. That's just one example.
So this is a fast track. You're providing a fast track for that guy that just cashed out and wants to be involved but doesn't want to do all the heavy groundwork and doesn't even know where to go.
He doesn't even know how. Yeah.
You're providing vehicle to get into that circle, and if he's an accredited investor, as you said, you're giving him the access to data that he otherwise wouldn't have had.
Yeah. And our vision over a long period of time is to figure out how to really democratize this, like let everybody in. One of our partners and friends, Sweater Ventures, actually did that. They came over like a really complex regulatory hurdle that took them 4 years. It's a little gray area thing with the SEC, but they basically let anybody, non-accredited, whatever, invest into their venture fund. We're probably going to find similar ways to do the same, because our general thesis is we think this should be available to everybody, and we're trying to make it more accessible and transparent.
So I think that answers the next question I was just about to ask you, which is your differentiator. How are you different from others that have come before you building some similar type of a platform? What makes you different?
Yeah, the real only comparable is iCapital. It's like a $5 billion firm. And what iCapital really is like a large brokerage investment bank. It's a bunch of old guys that kind of tried to slap some technology on and build like a marketplace. Now, it's wrong for a million different reasons. One, they charge both sides of the equation to get in. So it's still a club. You have to pay to get in. Particularly on the fund manager side, I know they charge around 100 grand to list a fund. So this is only applicable to like really $1 billion funds or like very large fund managers that are already established. So there's a couple problems with that. Established fund managers don't perform as well. One, they're lazier. Two, they have economy of scale problems. 3, the only reason they really get money is because they're more trusted, right? So we're trying to bridge that trust layer to get the smaller managers that are about to be the next Bill Ackman or the next, Andrew Chen from A16Z, the guy who's going to change the world, be the next great investor. Those guys are all under 500 million AUM. iCapital, I would guarantee 80% of their funds are above 500 million AUM. Both sides have to pay. It's just not the right model. And
it's not a good model.
It doesn't add any value.
Yeah, and I love the word democratize. You mentioned that earlier. You're offering something available to everybody, giving everybody a shot. I know the circles that you run in. You and I in the green room talked a little bit about LA Tech running there and some of the other names you've already dropped here. And I think that's your edge, is that it's who you know, and you're making the information available through those circles to the masses. And there's a winning component to both sides. And that's great. So,
everybody wins with this model. I say 90% of the people I talk to sign up, whether it's a fund manager or an LP. There's almost no resistance.
I mean, listen, man, I want to sign up and just go take a look and take it for a tour and just see what's available. I love the concept of the information that's available. Lift up the hood for a minute as much as you can. I know you got some kind of AI going on. I'm a huge AI guy. What are you using to give you what I like to call the unfair advantage to the rest of the competition?
Yeah, exactly. So one of our theses is to provide as much analytics, information, decision-making power to our investors for free, because every bit of value we add makes us that much harder to refuse. And we can do that without incurring a lot of costs. So we do have a couple AI partners. I'm not going to name specifically because private company.
Yeah.
But what we can do with venture data that nobody's done before. Imagine I was God and I could see every private company ever. So
playing a guitar. I got the image. Go ahead.
I'm not God, but imagine I could see everything.
Yeah.
Like God, I'm omniscient. So I've seen every venture company in the world, private company, go from start to finish, whether it blows up or becomes a unicorn, right? So nobody knew, the only people who got into Apple knew Steve Jobs or were in that circle, right? That is private markets in general. You don't have access to these startups. They're trying to make that better, but you can't find these guys that are changing the world most of the time. That's the problem with private markets. So now I can see every venture company that's, from pre-seed to pre-IPO, meaning the earliest stage to the latest stage before it goes on the stock market. And what you can do, if you have enough parameters, you can actually build relatively accurate predictive models. So I can say, I know this company will become the next unicorn. I know this is maybe the next Apple within this margin of error. So there's a 50% chance, for example, that this company is going to become a unicorn. And you can run these models on founders. And what it really is looking at is it's looking at who they know, who their investors, where they went to school, the model of their company, the sector, how it compares. And if you look at a wide enough net of data, you can kind of see where things are going. And AI in general, this is what's really interesting. Governments use this stuff for all kinds of things. Predictive analytics are a very, very useful tool.
Big time.
For decision making.
Yeah, no, it's stellar that you just hit on that, because that's at the heart of what you're doing. That's the credibility factor is in there. That's why I know you're going to the moon. That's why when I got word on what you're doing, I'm like, I got to have this guy on Epic Starts. Alex, let's turn to the general markets for a minute.
Okay.
Crypto.com, January, 35 mil. Qubit, January, 80 mil. Wormhole, February, 325 mil. Casio, March, 52 mil. Beanstalk, April, 182. Harmony Bridge in June for a nice smooth 100 mil. And Nomad just a few days ago to kick off August for 200 million. These are a handful of the biggest crypto hacks so far for 2022. These hacks alone add up to $974 billion. That's B as in bye-bye millions, billions at the B. So what the hell is going on? And before you answer that, I want to just turn for a second to cybersecurity, because a lot of people are out there beating up on the cryptos, beating up on Web3, beating up on blockchain can be hacked. Hey, listen, any business out there can be hacked. Once upon a time, blockchain was believed to never being able to be hacked. Cryptocurrencies never. Okay, those days are gone. Welcome to 2022. But let's go prior to 2022 and let's just talk today about general business. I mean, here's the deal. Enterprises, it's like right now, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 3 companies are going to get, not if, are going to get hacked. It's a really big deal. But in your line of business, and here you are with all these fund managers, and you're like sitting up on top of them all, and it's got to be one of your concerns. Not only you as an investor, but you as, you know, your book of business. What's going on? Like, is it just going to get worse, or is it going to start tapering off a little bit? What's your view on what's going on and when it's going to change?
I think any space that's growing extremely fast and being really innovative is prone to some massive mistakes. And I would even say maybe half of those mistakes that you mentioned could have been malintent, right? They could be inside jobs. There's one issue, and this is the only issue I have with crypto, because we can get, I mean, a lot of the stuff you're mentioning is crypto.
Yeah.
I've been in since like 2014, so I'm a big believer of it. But one thing about decentralization that I have a problem with is that it's inherently antisocial. You know, to be decentralized means to remove yourself from all systems, and people are trying to go, you know, people go full radical with that, and then others will, you know, see it as an ideology that's useful in some ways and not others, right? But to fully remove yourself from a system, decentralized systems eliminate trust, right? In a way that we don't have to trust because we can rely on a decentralized system, right?
Mhm.
That is actually antisocial because you need a sort of trust in any system.
Great point.
We're social creatures. You open up a lot of holes by going deep into this decentralization. I think it has a place, but I think there's an inherent issue where it's going to cause bad actors. It's going to cause problems.
So how do you stand tall, dodge the FUD, and deliver a trustworthy pitch to an investor in this extremely challenging crypto landscape? Like, what's some of the sauce that you're using to get through it and to stand tall and be a man of his word? Because I believe you to be that.
The way I deal with people is with full authenticity. I feel like you're betraying yourself if you're not being yourself around people. And being yourself means literally delivering what you know, what you think, fully honestly, right? You don't block it by your social stigmas or your biases, or you try not to, right? You tell people what you think, you tell people what you're doing. There's no reason to lie, especially to people you're pitching to. Be honest. The real thing is, like, you should be telling people what's not working. It's like, look, like starting a company is hard. You say, I fucked up in this way, this way, this way, this way, this way,
right?
But I did all of these things and they're working,
right?
And that's why I'm a founder. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I'm going to change the world, because I went around and I sniffed ass and I got things wrong, but these things I got right, and I know they work.
And failure is part of success. So you've been there, you've learned what's coming out around the bend, an event or some kind of legislature or non-legislature. Maybe it's some part of the infrastructure that's going to really help Velvet thrust.
That's interesting. I mean, what I would really like to see, actually, something that could be potentially interesting is they're talking about taxing carry right now. Do you understand that concept?
I do, to a certain regard, and I know a lot of listeners would love to hear the 30 to 45 second on it. Yeah.
Yeah, essentially taxing carry would be so venture and hedge fund investors make money on what's called carry, which is the percentage of the profits that they make for investors. So the standard carry is about 20%. So say I manage 100 million and I turn it into 200 million that year, I will make $20 million as a fund manager. In general, they're talking about taxing that carry in a very specific way, and I'm a little bit, I just saw this like yesterday, so I didn't get to read into it fully yet. I imagine it has to do with like unrealized carry.
So different from traditional asset management, whole set of rules, new rules?
I think it applies to venture in specific. So venture funds would be taxed before exits happen. They would be taxed year by year, realizing the carry. What's interesting in that for us is we will have all this portfolio company data, and we'll actually be able to help with the AI models too in evaluating these companies real time. So say, like, there's no way to really determine the valuation of a startup other than what the investors write it at, sign the term sheet.
Right.
So there's other ways you can go about valuating companies, like through AI, things like that. And a lot of people are trying to do that right now. We will know every portfolio company eventually if we have every fund manager on the planet at this acceptance rate, right? And what we can do is aid in like tax reporting when that time comes. I'll be able to value these venture companies. I'll be the one with all of the data. Say that SEC wants to audit a venture firm, for example. They might come to me and ask for my data. I might be able to sell my data to them.
Well, we joked earlier about the God comment, but I mean, data is the new gold. It's the gold. And you're king. Yeah. And to have that data and to have the truth and to have it accessible and effectively, efficiently, quickly deliver it. That, by the way, is a big part of what I love about blockchain, cutting out a lot of the middle work in the traditional model that just doesn't make a lot of sense when you get a new version. So that is super cool. Let's pivot here for a sec. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. You get another thought. Go ahead.
There's 4 powers in the world, right? And all these are powers of value. It's time, money, information, and love. Those are the things that move things. Not to be cheesy about it, but those 4 things are what move things. So if you save people time, you create value. If you make people money, you create value, because money is a derivative of all of that. If you add information, it's the same thing, right? And love, of course, is no brainer.
Dude, I love that. Like, that right there was gold. Write that down, boys and girls, especially all of you out there that are trying to build an empire or just might be in sales. That's great. 3 words I want from you. 3 words that best describe your startup life.
Crazy, fun, extremely difficult. Painful. Let's say painful.
Challenging is all. Okay, those are good. Let's talk about the epic moment. First of all, let's wind that back one more time. You've got a partner. Is this your first baby? Is Velvet your first go around? Have you done a startup before?
I only had one job, and it was a barista. Then I started a video company, and then a coffee truck, and then I started a quant fund, and then I ended up here. So
okay,
there you go.
Coffee. Wait, what was the one before the coffee?
It was video production, like a studio.
Video guy to coffee to, what was the next one?
Quant fund manager.
Quant fund to Velvet. That's quite the path, and a lot of interesting stories along the way. And you cut your teeth, man, because a lot of customer service going in there at the very beginning. And then you've got a partner. What's your partner's name that you're in on Velvet with?
Andrew Pignanelli.
Very cool. And like, talk to me about, I always like to ask this question. It's one of my fun ones because I just did a recording this morning. It was awesome. It literally was like, 2 guys on the couch and one guy was pitching. He didn't even realize he was pitching. And the guy on the other side of the couch was a fund manager and said, we're going to do this. So take me through where were you? Were you stateside? Were you in another country? Were you at a party? Were you sober? Were you not sober? Give me the story. If there was no story there, then that's fine. But maybe there was
how I met Andrew. Yeah, is that
how you met Andrew? But more importantly, when you and Andrew decided to build Velvet.
We met at my day traders club at my university. So I was running like a little day traders club, and I was getting a little tired of it because it was becoming a little prophetic. It was basically me just answering people's questions the whole time. And I was like, I put this together so people would answer my questions too.
Groundhog Day. Yeah.
Andrew came in and he knew his shit, frankly. He came in and he was another source of knowledge, and we immediately respected each other for that. Andrew will describe it as I was like running a cult before him. And now we do that with a company instead, because any good small company is a cult, by the way.
What gave you the confidence that Andrew was going to be the right guy? Just the recognition of the wealth of knowledge he had that you didn't have, and you guys kind of make that good combination, or was it something else?
Andrew romanced me a little bit. He told me, so it was Andrew's idea. He sat me down at a couple lunches. We chatted, and he brought me on as the CTO at the time. because I was running my quant fund. I had development experience. He needed somebody with a vision. He enforced one thing. He's like, Alex, you're not going to like go chase off your sail the world dream, right? Like if you're going to do this, we're in it for like, 3-4 years. And
That's
I
good.
said, yeah, I'll do it.
Awesome.
And we sat in his house, this house with our other co-founder, Nate, a couple guys, just for like, probably 5 months, really, really building it, hanging out on the couch, figuring out how to do things right.
Eating
And really
pizza,
excited.
drinking a beer, talking up the idea, throwing darts at the wall. What, as far as funding, what kind of funding have you guys had up to this point in terms
Yeah,
of like the round or the dollar amount, whatever you're comfortable talking about?
yeah, we raised a couple rounds. We raised about coming up on like 2.4 million. We're coming into a lot of revenue this year as well. So I'm really
Fantastic.
excited about all of that.
Especially with the climate and anybody making money in this year, there's something that has to be said about that. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Sentiment's still pretty good at the high level. I mean, a lot of the people we work with are like family offices on the investor side. The family offices, which are really exciting people to work with in general. And you get a lot of fun stories along the way doing that.
Sure.
RIAs, the investment advisors, pension funds. We've spoken to a couple endowments. I think we're a little early for endowments to trust us, but that's going to come next year, I'm sure.
I love it. Well, it is now time to play Find the Epic in You. All right, here we go. Where were you born, Alex?
I was born in California.
Born in Cali. He's a Cali boy with the long
There,
dreads. Where do you live now?
I live in Salt Lake currently, moving to New York next month.
Well, look at that. All right. He's headed to Broadway. How long have you actually worked in the tech space?
You could say 4 years.
Okay. That's not a long time, but I'll tell you what, you got a lot to just listening to you today. I've talked to people who have 3 times the amount of tech space, but have not accomplished and have such a worldly portfolio that they've built together. So I really love what you've built there so far. Let's talk about how many velvet jackets you currently have in your closet today.
A hauntingly low number of 1. I really need to. Hey, if you got a suggestion for a tailor for velvet, tell me, man.
Oh man, I'm in LA. There's plenty over here in Hollywood. I'll throw one.
We'll go shopping together when I come out next
We'll
month.
do that. Favorite velvet color?
I'm a red velvet guy.
There it is.
I like red. It's a little aggressive.
He's got the red velvet, ladies. He's ready to crush. All right. Which global city that you have been to features the best nightclub on the planet? Best nightclub anywhere on the planet. The city doesn't have to be in Cali. I'm kind of guessing it's going to be somewhere else.
Oh, that's hard because I had the most fun. I had the most fun in Rome. Rome for sure.
Rome.
I had some this Italian girl that I knew from high school. She's like a foreign exchange student. I met up with her again, resynced in Italy, in Rome, and she brought me in. And her roommates made us like this 4-course dinner, and then we went out clubbing all night. And I'm trying to remember the name of the club we went to because it was awesome.
It was that good.
After we were totally slaughtered by the club, I ended up in the streets at 5 a.m. and I have like Luigi and all these guys playing guitar. I'm playing guitar with them. I mean, I'll never forget that week in Rome.
Right there outside the Coliseum, probably, right?
Right. Yeah. Very close.
That's cool. Well, listen, if you can remember the name of it, you'll have to come back onto the next show and help to let everybody know. Or they can go follow you. We'll get you plugged on that later. All right. Favorite roller coaster of all time. I talked about at the top roller coaster ride. Do you have a favorite roller coaster you've been on that you want to give some mad props on?
Yeah, there's actually one in Utah. Some people may have heard of Lagoon. I don't know. There's this one called Wicked that you basically go spiral a dozen times, and if you don't throw up, you then go around a bunch of other corkscrews and then another drop. It's like a super accelerator one. It's called
What's it called again?
Wicked.
Wicked. You think that would be coming out of Boston? Have you done X2 over at Magic Mountain?
Oh, I haven't. No.
Yeah, I just watched that one last night. It gives me a reason to take a drive out to Ventura to go check that one out. Maybe after the summer is done. Last question. Epic Magazine. You're going to be on the cover next month. What does the caption say?
I'm too humble for this stuff, man. It
Putting
makes
you
me
on the
uneasy.
spot.
um, we might have to roll this one back.
All right. I'll let you think about that and you can come back to it. I want you to look in the camera one, and I want you to stare into the camera. You got a lot of entrepreneurs. You got a lot of young people out there that are thinking about taking the jump. You got some older folks that are like, I burned the castle down once. I think I can do it again. I've learned. I like what Alex said earlier about learning and failing and then succeeding. Looking in the camera, what's some of the advice that you can give to somebody that's right there at the edge, thinking about jumping into the startup life?
Look, doesn't matter how old you are, mortality's biting at your heels. You got this shot to do something exciting. I don't think there's anything more mind-opening than starting a business. I think the people you meet in it and the things it teaches you, there's nothing like it. I'm so grateful in general for the people I met along the way and the people who have helped me and the people I can now help. Having a business enables you to do incredible things, and you should just do it. It's too short not to.
5 golden stars, and I only give out 5. That was a 5-star, man. That was beautiful. Love it. Last question. I said that last question. You got one more. Has this been an epic experience for you today, Mr. Alex Johnson?
Dude, this has been epic. I'm holding back my epic tingles, to be honest.
Well, listen, I'm confident that everybody out there listening has had the same vibe, the same vibration of an epic feeling listening to you. For those of you viewing, seeing what Alex is all about. And man, really, really interested on what you're going to be building. Would love to have you come back to get a progress report and get an update from you. You down with that?
I'm down with it.
All right. Well, how do we follow you? How do the folks follow you that are out there? You're using Twitter or LinkedIn, web? What do you want to throw out there to get some people some info to follow Alex Johnson and Velvet?
Yeah, LinkedIn's the one, or Instagram even. You can follow me on Instagram, OG Alex Johnson. I kind of post who I'm hanging with. And then LinkedIn is more business oriented. You can look Alex Johnson Velvet. I'm sure I'll come up on LinkedIn if you search that.
Excellent. It's time to vamonos, amigos. The futures are bright, which is why Alex and I play the commodities in cryptos morning, noon, and night. Alex, maybe if you're nice to me, I'll let you sport the Tony Spark glasses and we'll go do some trading. I'll let you wear these and you get to see how I trade, what I'm looking at, and how I can turn any market with any volatility and volume, any market, cryptos, currencies, stocks, commodities, into a winning trade. That might be, like I told you, that's going to be another show altogether.
Those glasses look like they have a lot of alpha in them, man.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the show today. I know I sure as hell did. If you did, do us a favor. Don't just think about it, be about it. Please go find the platform that you found this. Go subscribe to the show. Go like what you listen to, and do us all a favor and get on back here for the next one. You can find me at Epic Starts with EP. Epic Starts with EP. That's the website and all the social media. I'm also out there on LinkedIn, edwardpreston.ai. Listen, come back, tune in again, and I'll catch you guys all real soon. And just remember, everything epic starts with EP.